Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session that I did with a lady who literally called me yesterday. She scheduled a consultation call. She was very distressed because while she was pregnant, she's still pregnant at the moment, she went in for a scan and was informed by the doctors that the scan had a very low possibility of causing an increased risk of cancer for either her or her unborn baby. And then while she was having the scan, she actually had regret about doing the scan. She worried that she made a mistake in having the scan. And then after that, had compulsive, intrusive thoughts about that she's going to give her baby cancer, that she's harmed it in some way, that she couldn't live with herself, with the guilt and all this kind of stuff. So, knowing that actually if someone's in a very distressed state, that's probably not the best, biochemical conditions for an unborn baby. We did the session this morning, so literally a few hours after the initial consultation call. And the purpose of this session really was to do a few things, really. One, disassociate from the feeling of regret. And the way that took place in this session is with the frame of knowing what she now knew. Would she do something different in that situation? The purpose of overthinking a past event is to learn from that kind of moment to be wiser for it. So it was important to reassure her unconscious mind that knowing what she now knew, she would have done something different. Okay, but she didn't know that at the time. The second key thing is to have a way of closing the loops of these compulsive, intrusive thoughts. And one of the key ways of doing that is really to say, well, I can't change the past, but I can change the present and the future by the choices that she makes. And statistically, we're talking about like 1 in 54,000 or 64,000 theoretical probability of an increased risk of cancer as a result of this scan. So it's tiny. And what was clear is that she had a fatalistic approach, that it was a foregone conclusion that something bad was going to happen. It was just, she believed that something bad was going to happen from the choice that she made. But actually, most cancers have a genetic and lifestyle contribution to them. And there's lots of choices that you can make that reduce the probability of any form of cancer. Generally, healthy lifestyle, good nutrition, natural food, drinking water, fresh air, positive state of mind, these kind of things. So what it was about is giving her the ability to close down these loops and think about what she could do for herself and her children to increase the possibility of a long, healthy, happy life for them. There's also a key suggestion that actually it's not the length of life that makes a life important, but the quality of a life. And I asked her the question before we did the hypnosis. I said, look, if you had a choice of living to 110 years old, but you spend your whole life in a prison cell, not being able to do anything or see anyone, or you could live to 60 or 70, but have a normal life where you get to make your own choices, what would you prefer? And it was obvious to her at that point that a shorter life, but a life where she had choice, was a more preferable life. And what that was designed to do is to prime her for this hypnosis session, where actually she can't choose to change the past, because the past is the past. But she can choose what to do with her present and her future to give herself the best quality of life and also her children. I think this session will be useful for anyone that is dealing with intrusive, compulsive thoughts that are negative in some way or just unuseful in some way, But equally, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, that's not my specific type of anxiety, I've got a different trigger or a different compulsive thought, there will be a link nearby where you can schedule a free consultation call, and I can just talk through how I would work with you in your situation, what my strategy would be, and answer any questions. But for now, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and just enjoy this session to see if it can help you in any way. All right, take care. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, allow feelings of worry or tension to leave your body. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice that with your eyes closed, you're better able to listen to the sound of my voice. And the sound of my voice will take you on a journey into the future, the past, and a positive, empowering present. As you breathe in, use the power of your imagination to breathe in a glowing white light. Feel that glowing white light going in through your nose, filling your lungs. But as you exhale, I want you to notice that it's a grey colour that leaves your nostrils on your outward breath. The greyness signifies tension, worries or stress that's leaving your body in your outward breath. But on the very next breath in, you're breathing in this bright, glowing white light, and that represents resourcefulness, relaxation. So you're breathing in resourceful relaxation and exhaling feelings of tension, stress and worry. And you've been worrying a lot recently. And it may be that this outward breath is a very dark grey. But it makes you feel better to know that that feeling of worry and tension is leaving your body. And what you're left with is a resourceful feeling, a calm feeling, a feeling of contentment. As you continue to breathe in and breathe out, I want you to imagine that this glowing white light represents positivity and usefulness. And that means that any thoughts that aren't either positive or useful will also start to leave your body in your outward breath. Breathing in this feeling of resourcefulness and seeing that dark, grey, almost a cloud, leaving your body in your outward breath. But also notice that within each and every breath, your outward breath is getting less grey, as it gives you evidence that the majority of any negative thoughts, any worries, any tension, any stress has already left your body now, meaning you're already starting to feel so much more relaxed, so much calmer, starting to feel at peace, perhaps for the first time in a long time. That's right. And as you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to put one hand where your baby is. That resourceful feeling of positivity, of energy, doesn't just go in with you and go to every cell of your body, it also goes to every cell in your unborn baby's body too. So just breathing in this positive, relaxing feeling is also helping your baby to be more relaxed and healthy. breathing in that relaxation, exhaling tension, knowing that you're changing your biochemistry. Less of the adrenaline and cortisol and more of those happy hormones like oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine. All those wonderful happy hormones that create a lovely environment. And imagine that your baby is there dreaming, and because you're relaxed and because you're calm, imagine that your baby is having lovely dreams right now because you're creating this wonderful environment, and your baby won't know why the dreams and the imagination is improving, but you just believe that they are. Because the better you feel, the better your baby feels. The healthier you feel, the healthier your baby will feel. As you continue to breathe in and breathe out, notice that as your physical body relaxes, your mind becomes more alert. And your mind has the ability to harness your imagination to visit the future. And we're going to visit a future to Disneyland now. I want you to imagine it's now the future, maybe 2, 3, 4 years in the future. And there you are in a grassy area outside in Disneyland, and in front of you are your children. See them running around with smiling faces. See how healthy and happy they look. They're excited, they're in Disneyland. Maybe over hedges or trees you can see fairy tale castles and palaces. Maybe you can hear laughter and the sound of the mechanics of rides in the distance. And I want you to get an immense feeling of gratitude that you feel being here with your children, giving them amazing memories and precious moments. I want you to get a sense that this is what life is. It's not about how long you live. It's about the quality of the life that you have. And perhaps you decided a long time ago that you wanted to give your children amazing memories, positive moments. You wanted to give them a healthy, happy life. And then I want you to imagine what it would be like to just get lost in your imagination and think back to a time in the past where a moment happened that in the moment caused you distress, but I want you to imagine that you're seeing that through the eyes of someone else. I want you to imagine that you're pausing time here in Disneyland and you're climbing into a magical bubble. You're inside the bubble. Time has been frozen. It's a thick bubble. You can breathe inside, but this bubble can go back in time, and it can go back all the way in time where you are invisible in this bubble, and you're going to go back all the way in time to a time when a scan was taking place. But I want you to visit that moment where doctors were explaining the process, the risks, and imagine that you're in that room in this floating bubble, invisible to anyone else, but you can see and hear everything outside the bubble. And you can see from your face just how trusting you are. You can see the doctors, the medical practitioners are busy. They're explaining why you need a scan. They're explaining why it's important, basically casually saying that there are risks, but the risks are low. And seeing that you went ahead with that scan, and then seeing your reaction when you perhaps feel that you might have made a mistake. You're watching yourself like you're someone else. See your reaction and feel sympathy and empathy for that version of you. You made the best choices you can in the moment. And you can also see how distressed you are at the realization that maybe you did something that you didn't want to do. See that play out all the way to the end. And maybe you see yourself distressed. And at that point where that version of you from the past goes home, I want you to follow her in your magical bubble. And that first moment that she's on her own, immediately after that scan, I want you to climb out of that bubble and tell her that you're from the future. You've seen healthy, happy children of the future. You know that things are going to be okay. Give her a hug. Tell her she did nothing wrong. Tell her that she made the right decision with the information that she knew at the time. Tell her that even if there was a theoretical increase in risk of any dangers, that the future version of her will be able to more than offset that with just healthy choices about what to do with her children, being a good role model, creating a proactive attitude on health, doing fun, active things where to be active isn't a chore, it's just a fun thing to do. But most of all, tell her that she has nothing to feel guilty for. In fact, I want you to imagine taking away her guilt, putting your hand on her chest or her head, wherever she feels guilty, and feeling that you're absorbing that, taking it from her, until you can feel it as a source of energy in your hand. And when you're convinced that that previous version of you has had that guilt removed, let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to give her something. You've taken away guilt, and now I want you to give her something even more powerful than the guilt was negatively, something more useful. I want you to give her a gift of resourcefulness. Imagine in your other hand is a glowing ball of energy, and place that in the same place that you took the guilt from. Give her this feeling of resourcefulness, and this resourceful feeling means resourceful about anything, resourceful about your thoughts, resourceful about being a role model, resourceful about creating a happy biological environment for her baby. All these things that are positive. As she takes it, you can see that she looks less distressed. But before we leave this, we need to make sure that all parts of your unconscious mind realize that wisdom comes from experience. And it won't be her going back in time and doing things differently. It will be you from the future, pretending to be her going back in time. And let's try that now. Rewind everything to before that appointment took place. Only this time, you from the future turn up from that appointment with all the research that you've done, with all the knowledge that you now have, that earlier version of you did not have. you can make different choices. Imagine turning up for your appointment, hearing the same words that you heard back then. Only this time, you make things as you wanted them to be. Maybe you change the scan for something else. Maybe because you knew the results of the scan anyway. In this memory, the scan doesn't even need to take place. I want you to live that moment again as you now would want it to be. Knowing everything that you now know, how would you want that moment to be? And allow your mind to update your memory to this new moment. Because that's what hindsight is. Doing things different with the new experience, wisdom and knowledge that you now have. And when you've gone through that, doing things as you would want them to be, let me know by nodding your head. We can't change the past, but we can change how we think about the past. Play that one more time from beginning to end, how you would have wanted it to have been, knowing what you now know. And if it leaves you feeling more resourceful, confident and settled, calm, happy and connected, with a strong bond between you and your baby, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And now it's time to leave. Go back to that earlier version of you. Notice that she now knows that things are different now. The guilt is gone. Give her a hug. Say goodbye. Leave her with that resourceful feeling of being proactive, wanting to be a good role model, knowing that there's so many things that she can do, and then go back to your present right now. Take all these resourceful feelings with you, and then just imagine you're still in your bubble, absorbing these resourceful moments and feelings, and then observing that version of you waking up tomorrow with a different facial expression. You look calmer, happy, content. You see yourself regularly putting your hand there on your womb, feeling connected with your unborn baby. Knowing that the happier you feel, the better environment you're making for your baby that isn't even born yet. Knowing that you're thinking of positive memories of the future to create those happy hormones that create a wonderful environment for your child. As the days goes on, see that you're worrying less and less, because whenever a worry comes up, you just see yourself closing that loop down and then focused on what you can do in the present. And there's so much that you can do. Meditation, drinking fresh, clean water, relaxing, listening to peaceful, relaxing music. So much that you can do. And in doing so, you start thinking of a future where you entertain the idea of creating a healthy and a happy future, not just for you, but for your children as well. Encouraging them to enjoy eating food from nature, like fruit and vegetables, berries and salads, not because they have to, but just because actually this is delicious food. Getting them wanting to go out for walks in the countryside, to run around playing with a football, to bounce on a trampoline. In this future, observe yourself creating all of the environment, the attitudes, the culture, the mindset of being active and healthy, just because it's a nice way to live. And in doing so, you'll know that anything from the past is more than offset by new choices in the present and the future. What used to be guilt now feels like empowerment. What used to be distress now feels like inspiration. Step into that version of you knowing that you can make great choices, and more importantly, knowing that you can close the loops of that inner dialogue. To gradually shift unuseful thoughts into more useful thoughts, and more useful thoughts turn into more useful emotions. And these more useful emotions create exactly what you would want for you and your children. And if your unconscious mind now accepts that your emotions were valid, your emotions were understandable, it's just that they're not useful right now. And instead, you will accept that the past is the past. You will learn from it, but not attempt to change it. What you can change is your thoughts and decisions in the moment, creating the best possible world for you, your children, and your unborn baby. And in doing so, each and every time you do this, you will have a wonderful feeling inside you that will encourage you to have more of these wonderful feelings. And you will accept one final suggestion. The happier you feel, the more connected you will feel with your baby. Put your hand there on your baby one last time and just get a feeling of complete love, connection, and happiness. And make a promise to that baby that you will do whatever you can to give them the healthiest possible life they can have. And when you feel like that is 100% true, let me know by nodding your head. Climb back in that magic bubble. Go back into the future. There in Disneyland. But Disneyland at a different time. Your children are still in Disneyland, but at a different age now. Maybe older, maybe younger. Give them a hug. And you can tell that they're healthy from their face, their body, everything about them. They love running around. And maybe they say they're hungry and you can see that you've prepared some food, but as you show them that food, you can tell it's healthy, natural food that they've just got used to eating in a very healthy, natural way. They love it. They don't want processed foods and fizzy drinks, things that actually can cause cancer. They want healthy, natural foods because they've learned from you that that tastes good and it feels good. Give them one last hug and then realize that this is just your imagination taking you on a journey into a useful way of living that is good for you and good for your children. But actually, these are just thoughts within thoughts, dreams within dreams, ideas within ideas, and actually you're listening to my voice firmly in the present. Feel like you're back in your body right now, but keep that resourceful feeling, that feeling of happiness, contentment, and connection. All those things that you had not too long ago, they're back now. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, happy, connected, content, eager to make the best choices possible for you and your children. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox. the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.